Exercise W38. Summarizing listening passages. 1. Now listen to part of a lecture.
During the Depression era in the United States, President Roosevelt's administration started innovative and often controversial cultural programs to ease unemployment among artists and writers, while at the same time give the general public access to the arts. One scheme, funded under the Federal Writers Project, employed nearly 7,000 writers at its peak in 1936. The funding provided work for both novice and experienced writers, many of whom went on to acquire literary reputations. Writers interviewed over 10,000 people from different regions, ethnic groups, and occupations about major areas of their life. The wide diversity was encouraged by the administrators, keen to foster tolerance and promote a sense of national identity during the difficult period of the 1930s. People interviewed included those from all walks of life, business executives to vagrants. Many interviewees told of their upbringing in the 19th century and included recollections of historic people or important events. Included among the informants were a large number of former slaves, whose memories offer a vivid account of conditions before and after the abolition of slavery. These vivid and often sad accounts of life histories were originally intended for publication in a series that would form a documentary portrait of everyday life in America. Unfortunately, the project was never fully realized, partially due to the redirection of national priorities with the United States entering World War II. However, the raw material collected remains a valuable resource for historians and provides insight into the lives of ordinary people of a bygone era. Furthermore, several of the project writers found that the knowledge and experiences they had gathered from their research was an invaluable source for their own literary creations.
Two. Now listen to part of a lecture.
You may be interested to know that the first test scoring machines were developed in the 1930s. The earliest prototype was created by Reynold B. Johnson, a high school teacher from Michigan. His invention was based on the fact that graphite conducts electricity. His inspiration to use graphite came to him when he was recalling one of the boyhood tricks that he played on his sister's friends. He would scratch pencil marks on the spark plugs of their parked cars. Then, when the drivers tried to start their cars, the graphite in the pencil marks would draw the sparks away from the spark plugs, and the engines wouldn't start. Thinking about this prank, Johnson realized that a machine could electrically sense pencil marks made on a sheet of paper, and then indicate if these marks were in the right places. By 1933, Johnson had made a working model of a test scoring machine. One day he received a telegram from an executive at the IBM company. Their company had been trying to produce a test scoring machine for several years and wanted to purchase Johnson's invention. After a few setbacks and interventions within the IBM management, Johnson's machine finally met approval and was improved over the next few years. This machine allowed a large number of exams to be scored efficiently and with no human error. This led to the feasibility of widespread standardized testing. Nowadays, computerized exams are gradually taking over the role of machine-scored standardized exams. It's likely that the scoring machine will remain around for some time to come before completely being replaced by the computer.
Exercise W39. Linking ideas in reading and listening passages. 1. Now listen to part of a lecture on the topic you just read about.
A lot of evidence seems to underline the need for a more cautious approach to fluoride supplementation. First of all, when we add fluoride to the water supply, we're doing so without the informed consent of the public. Now, you could argue that since the benefits are so obvious to the consumer, that no consent is necessary. But several studies have shown that fluoride supplementation may be more hazardous than was once thought. If that's true, then the act of adding fluoride is a kind of large-scale experiment in which the subjects, that is, the general public, have not given their consent to be treated as guinea pigs. Think about it. Would you allow doctors to test medications on you without your knowledge and consent? In fact, at least one large-scale study carried out recently concluded that average decay rates for children in both fluoridated and non-fluoridated areas were almost identical. Besides this, evidence seems to be coming in that decay rates are going down in most places for other reasons, unconnected with the use of fluoride. Beyond this, some research has called into question the safety of the supplements. Environmentalists, for example, claim that the supplements are not the same as naturally occurring fluoride since it's derived from a hazardous waste and contains toxic pollutants. Furthermore, several side effects have been reported from the overexposure to fluoride in animal testing. Remember that fluoride is a cumulative poison. Only a percentage leaves the body, and the remainder accumulates in different tissues. This can lead to unforeseen health problems. All in all, it seems clear that much more public debate and research into the benefits and potential dangers caused by fluoride supplementation needs to be conducted.
Two. Now listen to part of a lecture on the topic you just read about.
Well, the belief in the value of using animals as predictors of earthquakes is, in my opinion, based on very weak evidence. The fact is that no serious scientific research has shown that this actually works. I agree, of course, that animals have been shown to have different and often superior sensory capacities. But all the evidence we've collected about animal behavior prior to earthquakes is anecdotal. In other words, based on what people claim to have observed after the event. So, often after any sudden major event, people focus on things they remember happening just before. Amongst other things, they remember things like animals apparently behaving oddly. It may be that animals from time to time behave in unusual ways, but if this isn't followed by an impressive event, such as an earthquake, well, then people have no reason to remember this behavior. People often remember vividly all kinds of things that happened prior to any surprising or catastrophic event. Some studies have shown some of the animal stories to be fanciful rather than factual. For example, people have often claimed that many dogs and other family pets go missing just before a quake. The hypothesis that this could be caused by the animal's anticipation of an earthquake has in fact been tested in California by scientists who have studied reports of missing animals in conjunction with earthquake activity. This study, at least, showed no connection between pet behavior and quake occurrence over a 3-year period. As for the often heard success of the evacuation of a Chinese city prior to an earthquake based on animal behavior, it turns out that in fact the real warning was given by a series of foreshocks, shocks that sometimes occur before a major quake.